Hey guys, how you doing? This is your girl, Delisa, you know me, the real estate diva. We are with Trinity Alliance Group of Buffalo, Inc. We are here to present how to flip a house, phase 3. Now we went over phases 1, which was securing the building, phase 2, which was alterations. Phase 3 is called rough works. This is where you find all that pretty piping, and this is where the majority of your money is going to go, to be really honest. And it's the stuff that you don't get to see when you walk in a house and it's all finished. So that's why it's called rough works. Okay, it's how to flip a house phase 3. We are going to get started. I am Delisa Robinson, your real estate diva, CEO of Trinity Alliance Group of Buffalo. We are a full service real estate investment firm. I have been out here in these real estate streets for 22 years. Yes, I am old, but it's okay. Social media marketing advocate, because I have built a brand and a business on social media. We do have other classes that teach social media strategies. And for our business consulting, we do that as well. When I say a full service real estate investment firm, be serious. We are so serious about what we do. We do real estate sales, both retail, which means on the market, wholesale, which is off the market. Investment, when we say real estate investment, we have put our money into other projects and we allow people to invest in our projects. Real estate investment lending is, we are a full service lender for your hard money loans and financing, refinance, cash out refis, and even some traditional mortgages. We have access to lenders who will allow that. And we work with a licensed mortgage broker who handles the back end part. We just service the loan origination. Portfolio building and management. Let me explain this, because this is where a lot of people misunderstand what we do. Portfolio building. We help investors build their portfolios. We coach, we guide, we educate on building a strong cash flowing real estate portfolio. Management, please do not confuse that with property management, because we don't do that. We used to. And then we realized that that is not the business. That's not where we wanted our business to expand. So now we do property management for our own properties. And trust me when I tell you that is enough. And we have a landlord boot camp coming up that we're going to talk about how you can self-manage effectively and keep that 10% in your pocket or pay it to yourself. That's going to come up later in May or June. So we'll talk about that a little later. Now, management, when we say we help portfolio management, we advise on when to buy, when to sell, when the market is hot enough for you to make a good profit, and when you should hold on to something. So that is what we mean by management, not property management. Because somebody asked me about property management, I had to say, oh no, no. So phase 3, the rough works. What is rough works? Rough works is the electric, the plumbing, the HVAC, and the inspection process and the amps. It's just so much. So we are going to spend a little bit of time on the rough works today. Let's start with the electric, because this by far can be the easiest or the hardest part of the rough work part. So 100 amps for a residential home is pretty much standard in today's construction periods. Now, before, you will go into circuit breaker box and you can always see the amperage because it's on that main flip switch. It tells you what the amperage is. You see 60, you might see 40, then you'll see a jump box next to it. And a jump box is a little box off to the side that they've, as my dad used to say, jimmy rigged to attach to the main circuit breaker box. That's a key that your electric is outdated. So keep in mind for that. Your electric process from start to finish, if you gut a house, and when we say gut, we mean demo. So if you gut a house down to the bricks, that means there's no framing whatsoever in the house. But if you do it down to the studs, that's where we go down to the framing and we stop, because we're not going to reconfigure any rooms or anything. So why would you take the framing out? Okay. Now, if you have a house that's down to the bricks, you have to do the framing. If you have a house that's down to the studs, you just have to start wiring the house. Now, your wiring should take no more than 2 to 3 days. And I've checked with some electricians that I've used in the past, and I've checked with a couple that I've used recently. And I had one who went and wired, and he had me done in 2 days. And he wired a whole house. So if your electrician is telling you it's going to take 2 weeks, they have no idea what they're talking about. Don't hire that person. Always hire the person that's going to give you the numbers. I'm not saying hire if you got 3 people telling you 2 weeks and then one person says 2 days, hire that person. No. Investigate that person, because if everybody else is telling you this time frame, then you need to know why. Start asking the questions. Who are they? Why are they in business? How long have they been in business? Where are they working? Are they licensed? You need to ask those questions, because this part of your business is very important, because when you flip a house, you make the biggest check you're going to make if you do it right. Now, when we say the rough works of electric, that means all the wiring has been pulled through the studs. And if you look at the picture to the left of your screen, all the wiring has been pulled through your studs. Okay, and inserted into the ceiling and the wall socket juncture boxes. That's those blue boxes that you see all over an open space. If you've gone to an open space, you see those all the time. That's your rough in, and that's what they'll call it, the rough in. Now, we called it rough works because we're talking about all 3 of these combined today, but this is what you do. This is where you go. This will be the rough work section of phase 3, remodeling a home. See, there I go again. Yesterday we talked about that. Renovations and remodeling, flipping a house. Phase 3 of flipping a house is the rough work, getting everything roughed in. So that's where you get your electric roughed in. That's where you get your plumbing roughed in. It's everything you do before you put walls up, before you put insulation in. Okay, so that's what that is. Hire a professional. You have no choice. This is something that can cause life or death. You can set someone's house on fire if the electric is not done correctly. Please hire a professional. They have to be licensed. They should be assured, and check their reputation out here in these real estate streets. See who's using them. See if there's one here in our local area that I absolutely just love, and I'll give them a shout out, Empire Electric. I love Tony and the crew, and they are amazing. So what I want you to do, hire a professional. They have to be licensed. They have to be insured. They should be able to tell you, oh, it's only going to take us 2-3 days. And get in and out. Because guess what? While they have one crew doing this job, they want to be in and out so they can get the next one done. And they should have more than just one person showing up to do the job. That's another thing that kills me. You have electricians who want to work by themselves. They don't have any help, and they want to rewire a whole house. No, that's not how that works. And that's not how it's going to work. You guys should be able to know they should be out in 2 to 3 days, and it shouldn't take more than that. Okay, know your numbers. If they're going to quote you per outlet, per juncture box, then that's not the right electrician for you, because who knows how many juncture boxes you're going to need, how many outlets you're going to need, and things like that. They need to be able to tell you how many feet apart, because I know, and nobody knows this, a lot of people don't know this, but here in New York State, you have to have, if you have a 12-foot wall, you need 2 juncture boxes. You need 1 for every 6 feet. So that's where we get, that's where you get into the ins and outs of knowing where, the logistics, and knowing where an outlet will go, what an outlet should do, and how to manage your project and what to look for when you're going into future projects. I've had people come to me and say, hey, I have a house that's completely gutted, but I don't want to do the project. Would you be interested? And I go in and I walk in and I'm like, okay, who did your electric? Who did the plumbing? Who did the HVAC? Because I see stuff that's not right. And I never forget, me and my team went in on one house and we looked in it and we laughed. We had no choice but to laugh when we saw plumbing coming through the closet. And it wasn't just any ordinary plumbing, it was the sewer pipe. Who puts the sewer pipe and runs it through the closet so it can connect to a lower bathroom? It's not how that works, okay? So know your numbers, know the number of outlets that you need per wall space, per footage, know the number of outlets you need per room. Also keep in mind what you want. Sometimes it only requires one outlet per room. You might want two. So you have to tell your electrician that. Make sure they stick to their time frame. Most importantly, an electrician in most areas will need 2 inspections. You're going to need 1 inspection. After this phase is over, you're going to need an inspection from the city representative from your local authority inspections department. So city, town, state, whatever you adhere to, that's where you're going to need your inspection to come from. Now, you also will need, especially for your electric, a utility inspection. So a representative from the utility company has to come out and make sure you did your job, your electrician did the job that they were supposed to do. Now, I know I'm going a lot in detail on the electric, and that's because, like I said, you don't want your project to burn to the ground. You don't want to have this issue with your electric in the future. So you're going to have to get 2 sign-offs and keep record. And this is one thing you should do. You should always keep a record. And I'm going to show you at the end of this how we have kept records in the past. You guys are going to think we're so archaic, but we're not. We have a paper file, we have an electronic file. So it's interesting to see how we do that. All right, next on our little agenda here, plumbing. Again, hire a professional. Before your plumbing is done and completed, you have to make sure it's inspected. So let me explain what goes into the rough works of plumbing. The rough works of plumbing is the rough in of your pipes, both your water lines, your gas lines, and your sewer lines. That's all, those are your plumbing lines. Okay, you want to, this will include putting in your tub diverters, the sewer pipe, which is called a stack, that is in your hot water tanks, all your lines that goes in and out to your faucets, all those water lines and gas lines have to be ran. If you're using gas. If you're in a state where you primarily use electric, I'm telling you now, I would switch to gas, but that's just my preference. I like gas cooking appliances, and that's where it is. So that's a difference. So I would have gas pipes. Now, your hot water tank, the size of that depends on a lot. It depends on the square footage of your home, because I've gone into some homes that have 2 hot water tanks. One goes to one half of the house, the other one goes to the other half of the house. I never thought anything of it until I got into the real estate business. I'm like, okay, this is why they had 2 tanks. Because if you have a bigger house, a bigger home, you have more people living in the home. So the more people you have in the home, the more hot water you're going to need. The bigger the square footage, the more the pipes are going to have to run certain ways. And the number of water sources. These days, and I've been looking at houses in Georgia lately, just to use as an example, they have 2 kitchens, one in the basement, one in the main kitchen area. They have 18 million bathrooms. They all need water supply. So the size of the tank is going to go by the size of the household. So if you have a 6-bedroom home, you're either going to have a tankless hot water tank, which is what I would prefer. That way you always have hot water, it doesn't matter. Or you're going to have a bigger tank. Now, for an ordinary residential house with 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, or 2 baths, A 40, 50-gallon tank is enough. Because you don't have people constantly using water, hot water, and everything else. But if you are in a bigger home with 6 or more people, I'm not saying 6 or more people, 6 or more bedrooms, and each one of these bedrooms is occupied, you run the risk of having anywhere from 6 to 12 people in your home. So you will need a bigger hot water tank or a tankless, because the tankless tank is more expensive. However, it is a continuous supply of hot water. And it should take no more than 5 days to get this plumbing right. And you will have, at the end of it, you will have to have water service turned on, or your plumber should be able to access it to turn it on so that they can test your pipes and make sure there's no leaks. The last thing you want is to close up these walls before you test the water. I'll say it again. The last thing you want is to close up these walls before you test your water. You want to have, and what they do is sometimes they'll do an air test where there's no water or no gas going through the pipes, and they'll push air through the pipes to see if there's any leaks. So that's what happens. Now, what also happens, the type of inspection, you may need your local gas company to come and run a test. It's called a pressure test, and they will run that for you. They may charge you something for it, and sometimes they may not, depending on how long the house has been inactive. If it's like my favorite, the zombie house, or if it's a brand new renovation, a new build, they'll take that into consideration as well. So you guys have to have a utility inspection and a city inspection. And like I said, make sure your plumber is testing your pipes before they close up these walls, because you do not want to close these walls and then have water leak through your drywall. That is the worst. HVAC. Alrighty, here's the thing that gets us. HVAC, you hire a professional. And HVAC, it stands for heating, and I'm gonna be honest, venting. It's heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. That's what, air and cooling or something, or air cooling or air conditioning. I don't know the exact terminology for it, but that's what Google's for. So whenever anybody asks me, I always Google it. But your HVAC is where you can get the most contamination in your project. And what I mean by contamination is the last thing you want is a carbon monoxide disaster. So you will hire a professional, please. Don't hire Uncle Bobby down the street or little Ray who took plumbing in high school or HVAC in high school, and now he wants to install your furnace and he can do it for cheap. Don't do that. Hire a licensed professional to do this. Make sure they have a reputation that you can verify. It's best to have your HVAC done before, I said it, before you get your electric and your plumbing hooked up. So why'd you put that last, Lisa? I just felt like it. No big deal. So it's best to have your HVAC done and have it inspected before the electric and the plumbing and the walls have been installed, because then what happens is it's easier for the inspector to maneuver around the connections, because once you install the electric, you might have electrical wires running in the same direction as your HVAC, or you might have it running underneath your HVAC, and that stuff gets in the way. You don't know what's running from what. So it's just best to have that done and get it inspected ahead of time. In older homes, like here in Buffalo, we have a lot of older homes, and I'm actually working on one right now where I had to have an asbestos test. An asbestos test, it cost me $750. The reason why it costs that is because they charge per particle, per testing sample. Even though I knew there was no asbestos in the house, it was down to the studs. There's nothing in the house. You still had to get that test before the city would give me a permit. So you have to make sure that an asbestos can be wrapped around old ductwork that leads to your furnace. So if you are, I implore you, please, if you are gutting a home down to the studs, make sure your ductwork does not have asbestos, because if so, you will have to pay for the removal of that asbestos, and that can be quite costly because asbestos is a very harmful cancer-causing material that they no longer use, but a lot of older homes still have it. You are perfectly fine as long as the asbestos is not disturbed in any way, but the minute you go to disturb it by opening up a wall, you reveal it to the public, so you have to get it removed. You have to pay for that. So the plumber and the HVAC person may often work together because, like I said, if you have gas pipes, you're going to have to run that gas pipe and everything else off of that furnace, and the furnace might be connected to the plumbing because it has to be vented. So there's other ways, there's other things that the plumber and the HVAC representative will work together in doing that. However, your electrician, he's on his own. The only reason your electrician comes in, they want to talk to the plumbers to make sure they don't put electric near a water line. That's the only reason they want to work separately, and you do your electric, then you do the plumbing. So standard time for installation of your ductwork and furnace should take no more than 2 to 3 days. And I know you're going to say, well, you said that about the plumbing, said that about the electric. And I'm serious, it shouldn't. So within a week, you should be able to get all 3 done. At least say 10 days. So 2 weeks. We'll give them 2 weeks just in case. If the electrician takes 3 days and the plumber takes 3 or 4 days, and then the HVAC person takes 3 or 4 days, I am now at 10 days. So that is 2 business weeks, because just like me not wanting to work on the weekends, I'm pretty sure they don't want to work on the weekends either, unless it's an emergency. Okay, so we talked about the contamination. Carbon monoxide, asbestos, those are 2 of the big ones that you have to worry about when dealing with the HVAC. So you make sure that you keep that contained. If you have asbestos, get it removed. It's going to cost you some money. Make sure it's in your budget. Your inspector should tell you if you have asbestos ahead of time, or you should be able to recognize what asbestos looks like. A simple Google search will show you what asbestos looks like, because it comes in many forms. There are asbestos shingles that actually are on the outside of someone's home. And what a lot of builders and renovators and home flippers are doing now is they'll just go over it. Instead of removing the asbestos shingles from the home, they'll just go over it with vinyl siding. It's like I said, as long as that asbestos is not disturbed, you are not at risk. So let's move on to our inspections. I want to recap inspections just because, and we are almost done with this session of Lunch and Learn. Inspections, the electrical inspection, you will get 2. The utility company will come out and they will inspect, and they will make sure that your wiring is in compliance with their power surges that need to come, that power that needs to come through those lines. That's why they have to inspect. Same thing with the plumbing and with the gas company coming out to get that plumbing, making sure it's working correctly. You also need a city inspection. The city inspection, those are mandatory inspections for electric. Now, some city and states and municipalities do not require plumbers to have 2 inspections. Some do. Here in Buffalo, notice I didn't say New York State, because in Buffalo, we are required to have a pressure test done by our local gas company. And then, like I said, the HVAC inspection, you want to make sure that everything is working. So your occupants of the new property that you're going to give them with this beautiful home is not in jeopardy of killing them with carbon monoxide or asbestos. Being wrapped around, the asbestos is usually wrapped around the heating vents or around pipes. So the plumber has to be careful of asbestos as well. Now, I said in the beginning that this section costs the most. Here's why. I have, and I'll give you the example, I have a $75,000 budget for a renovation that's coming up. Well, I'm sorry, $70,000. I have a $70,000 budget for a renovation that's getting ready to take place. 12,000 of it is electric. Now, if I had 75 and I paid 12 to my electrician, I am down to 63 immediately. Another 10,000 of that is for plumbing, because this is an old house. Nobody's lived there in about 15, 20 years. And I have to replace the majority of the pipes. So if that is another 10,000, I am now down to 53,000. Then I have to get my HVAC. This is a duplex, so I have 2 sets of everything. I have 2 furnaces, 2 sets of ductwork, 2 vents. So I am now at about, well, normally I would be at about $10,000 because that's what somebody else is going to charge me. But I have a furnace guy. We've worked with one another now for well over a year, and we do a lot of work together. So he doesn't charge me what he charges everybody else. So I will only pay 5 of that 10,000. But even still, if I paid 12,000 for my electric, 10,000 for my plumbing, and then 5,000 for my HVAC, I've now taken off over a third of the price of the value of my $75,000 budget. So I started at 75, 12,000 brought me down to 63, 10,000 brought me down to 53. I am now at $48,000 that I have left, and I still have to make this house pretty. I haven't even put up a wall. I haven't replaced a floor. I haven't replaced glass block windows in the basement. I haven't done any demo. Well, I've done the demo already. So at this point in my $75,000 budget, I am now down to 48,000 minus the 5,000 I had for the demolition work, minus the windows and the doors. I could very well be down to about $25,000 right now left in my budget. So you want to make sure that your people are working timely, because every minute that they're not working is costing you money. Here's the thing. A lot of people say, well, am I on the job site every day? No, I am not. And I don't profess to be, and I won't be on the job site every day. And the reason why I won't be on the job site every day is because I trust my team to do the job they're doing. But you, however, are new to this. So you need to be on a job site every day. Why? So that you learn. Do you have to be on a job site all day? Absolutely not. But you need to know what the demolition process looks like. I participate. In the beginning, I used to participate in my demos. I still do. I have a video on our YouTube channel of me just last summer helping the demo crew do the demo. Because I like to do the demo. I like to paint. You might see me install a floor because I like to do those things. Hence the reason I don't get my nails done too often, because I like to do those things. So you want to have access. You want to have some type of hands-on. You can't just sit back and say, I'm not going to do it. Not in the beginning of your flipping business. And believe me, it is your flipping business. So you tell your contractors, don't tell your contractors when you come in. Keeps them on their toes. Don't tell them when. You could say, oh, I'm going to come on Monday, but don't tell them a time. You know, you want to be there. If you're scheduling an inspection, if you're doing a hard money loan and you're scheduling an inspection for the bank's inspector to come out and mark off stuff that has been done, you want to be there because you want to know what his process is. Now, there's going to come a time, like now, I don't have to be there when my inspector's there. I have a lockbox on every house. Here's the code, go in. So that's what we do. See what I'm saying? Picking up what I'm putting down now? All right. Or as The Rock would say, can you smell what I'm cooking? Good. All righty, my loves. That is it. All my lovely people who are in this out here in these real estate streets or want to get into these real estate streets, I'm here to help. We are here to help by having our social media open and available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days, or as in this year, 366 days of the year. You can reach us on Facebook at Trinity Alliance Group of Buffalo, Inc. We are on Instagram, tag.716, YouTube, tag716, and on Twitter, we are tag716_team. Our affiliates, we have our wholesale network, and oh my gosh, they are in for a huge announcement today, the wholesale network. They're going to love us. Our wholesale network is a network of men and women who are across this country who find these off-market deals for investors. So if you are an investor looking to get into these real estate streets, but you can't find any properties, contact the Tag 716 Wholesale Network. You can contact us through our Trinity Alliance Group of Buffalo Inc. Facebook page. Inbox us there. Our phone number is there. Our email information is there as well. We are more than happy to assist you in your search and getting you up to date with one of our affiliates in this great, beautiful country of ours. As always, we have our Lunch and Learn on YouTube. We are here Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with different topics. And I may not be the only voice you hear at times. Sometimes it may be a different voice. You'll get that in the near future as well. Tag 716 Network and Mastermind, our Facebook group. It is free to join. You just have to answer 3 short questions. It is not just about real estate. It is about business. So we offer business coaching, business strategies, and everything else in that group. So please join us. If you ladies and gentlemen have any questions about phase 3, rough works of the flipping process, please let us know. Our flipping journal, which is titled My Flipping Journal, is going to take all 5 of these phases that we go through, and it's in one book, and it will be out in the middle of May. Cannot wait for that to happen. That will be out for you to be able to purchase and take along with you on your first flip journey. If you have any questions, please answer in the chat box. I hope you all have your chat box on, all panelists, so everyone can see your answers. If not, there are no questions. I will see you guys tomorrow for Lunch and Learn. It is very, very, very. Tomorrow will be phase 4, which is closing up the walls. And phase 5 will be on Friday, and it is called Making It Pretty. Cosmetics, the lipstick and mascara of this real estate game, so that our properties are out here looking cute in these real estate streets. You guys stay smart, stay safe, stay home, and stay focused on your dreams and your dreams and aspirations. I am looking forward to meeting some of you face to face very soon, because as soon as this quarantine is lifted off of New York State, I'm planning to hop in my car and do some travel. So I will see you and yours hopefully soon. If you have no other questions or concerns or comments, I will see you tomorrow. You guys have a great day and be blessed.